The political atmosphere ahead of next year's election. There has been realignment and alignment of forces, among the especially opposition political camp, and of course also high-profile defections into the ruling APC, especially by governors. And all of this is shaping the road to 2027. So we'll be analyzing this with Engineer Yabagi Sani, the National Chairman of the Action Democratic Congress, who joins us live in the studio. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. We are Action Democratic Party, ADP.
Right, Action Democratic Party.
Yes.
Thank you for that, clarification. Well, let me start by saying, Happy New Year first. We are in 2026.
Yes, exactly.
We hope that the year is going to bring prosperity and peace for our country. Just before we commence, the conversation on politics, let me get your take on the rollout of the new tax regime, especially the fact that the opposition political class in Nigeria have been voicing out, concerns around its implementation. Let me get your take.
Well, Happy New Year, Shafi'u, and of course Nigerians. Well, the tax reforms that the president has brought into the country to run the economy of this country, it's something that is really not unexpected. Because yes, our tax system has been in a very bad shape. Multiplicity of taxes that people pay. You have almost every tier of government, charging taxes.
So you think the harmonization is in order?
Yes, harmonization is in order. Administration of the tax, joint tax is in order. The only thing that is really baffling to me is that this is a democratic government. And the democratic government is supposed to listen to the people you are governing, because it is government of the people, by the people, for the people. And when you have a policy change that does not sit well with the majority of the people, I think it's your responsibility, as the leader, to take a second look at what people are saying, so that people will believe that you are representing their interest. More so when the same bill now has even been
controversy.
Controversy. Not only controversy, has been tagged as a fraudulent bill. Coming from the executive, because the National Assembly has already passed the bill to be enacted. By assent that Mr. President is supposed to give to the bill. And then what was expected is what was agreed. If at all the presidency or the executive has a different opinion, there's nothing wrong. They can send it back to the National Assembly.
I think that's what they are doing now. They're trying to perhaps regazette it also.
But then what is the rush? In keeping, say, because I said it must happen beginning January 1st, it must happen. This is not a military government. And a democratic government is supposed to be elastic in the sense that you accommodate the views of the led. Because that time, then they become more involved. It's like, oh, we participated. Our views are respected. And then they will in fact own the bill at that point in time. Because nobody wants to pay taxes. Not only Nigerians.
Multiple taxes.
Yes. No, even taxes at all. The idea of taxes, nobody. Not in America, not in Europe.
Even where people are seeing the benefits of all of this, because some people, in some clients, people
it's a civic responsibility. It's a levy that government put on people to develop the economy, isn't it? To develop the people themselves. But the fact, what I'm telling you is that the natural tendency of human beings is that they don't want to part with their money. But like you rightly said, if you can visibly see what they are doing with the money, then that's some kind of consolation that, okay, at least what I'm giving, is being used,
it's worth giving.
Yeah.
Right.
Improve infrastructure, build hospitals, build schools, and then secure people, So this is where, it baffles me that the APC-led government, does not understand the basic requirements of, a democratic setting, which is to engage with the people and be a listening, government. Right. But again, the windfall here is that, you see, I like what is happening.
Right.
What is happening is that it has now awakened the consciousness of an average Nigerian. The man in the street now knows that he is going to part with his money. Because don't take what they're saying that the taxes is not going to affect. It's going to affect all of us, including the poor, including the indigent, and then the big companies. Because why? If you are not taxed annually, like companies do, you pay VAT.
Yeah.
And they are now
tax,
and they are now widened, the scope. They are using some digital systems now through banking systems and things like that, where they now tax you which means prices are going to go up whether we like it or not. Transportation will go up. Some companies, small companies, may not be able to cope with the kind of things required. So what I'm saying, the windfall here,
like it is with the subsidy, once the subsidy is gone, it affects virtually every aspect of Nigerian
life. Yes.
All right.
So
okay.
But we are windfall. The good thing here, Nigerians will now become more interested in what government is doing with their money. Because like you hear, abroad, like in America, taxpayers' money. How can you spend taxpayers' money the way you are doing it? Be that before now, Nigerians are disconnected because the money is coming from crude oil, they cannot even imagine that is their money. They don't even believe it's their money. But now that you are taking even the little they have, then government will be put on their toes.
Okay, even though some would tempted to ask just whether there are safeguards, what can Nigerians do differently to ensure accountability? They don't have any control, over what is being expended, how it is being expended.
No.
And of course, cannot also force the government to be transparent. We are seeing with what is happening right now. The previous resource person was talking about impunity and lack of accountability.
Yeah.
So,
but that is before Nigerians become connected with their money. Today they are going to begin to part with their money, no matter how little. People will now become more interested. What are you doing with that, my 10 naira, which I paid? That's why you see local government chairmen, immediately, councillors and what have you, they build houses, they marry more housewives, they go to Umrah every year and all these things, and nobody cares. But now, they will begin to ask questions because they are being taxed. Before now, when you have poll tax was every adult was paying poll tax. Every household you have to pay poll tax. So people become more inquisitive. People are more. That's why I'm saying they are going to put government accountability. You're talking about will come automatically.
Okay.
Just like it's happening in the so-called developed countries.
Right. Let's see how this accountability begins. Because our previous caller, someone called from I think Sokoto, so was talking about. I think the first caller was talking about, the fact that the government is asking them, to give it another mandate, or rather to return, this current government in 2027. And today, this is what the government is rolling out. So I think we'll begin, the accountability begins from there. Now people are beginning to look at, whatever you do, you will also have an effect.
Exactly.
A corresponding effect.
Yes.
When you come back to say, you need our votes and all of that. So that's, perhaps...
Even before you come back, you'll begin to see people stopping government officials, in the middle of the road. That is my tax, it's my money. I'm paying this money because it's painful. When you open your bank account, or the tax man comes to you and saying, "Oh, this is what we found in your account, and we're taking this," because that's what the law says. You will not watch, your National Assembly member or your governor or something spending money, without any regard. So you will definitely, the accountability I'm talking about will come in, and I can tell you that definitely as we go into the 2026, mid 2026, you will see policy reversals by this government.
Okay.
They will have to do it. There will be
you mean they won't have the courage to go on with what is happening right now?
Write it down. Write it down, because they are interested in election.
But if they are actually afraid, some will say they would have tarried a while, with the implementation. But they were bold enough to say, no, this has to go.
Bold enough to say that this has to go, because, in this country, unfortunately, there are a lot of things happening at the same time. But the point I'm making to you is that as 2027, approaches, definitely politicians will start putting the thinking cap on.
Okay.
And write it down. There will be reversals of policies.
Okay. Since we've already somewhere into the 2027 conversation, some will say this should be a cheering news for the opposition, because they're actually looking for ways perhaps to discredit the government or but then it is the same opposition that are pushing back, making all the necessary noise around the need to stop it, to halt it, and all of that. And the government is saying, hey, Nigerians shouldn't bother, because this is not going to affect them. Those pushing back on this are actually the people who are afraid. Who wouldn't want to pay taxes? And they are the ones that have the money.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that what I've seen that the government says is going to do, in fact, it's not only the rich that is going to be affected, like I've told you before.
Yeah, you talk about the ripple effect.
Yes, the ripple effect. Yeah. And not only the ripple effect, the actual effect, the direct effect. Take, for instance, government says they are not going to charge the poor or somebody who earns less than minimum wage or something like that, or who earns less than 100,000 or something like that. Yeah. But this man goes to the market to buy food items, isn't it? Every day, living, he has to buy, he has to go on transportation, go to buy drugs and things like that. And before, hitherto, a lot of people are not captured in the tax net, this VAT thing. But now, government is going to use an instrument that will make virtually... Before
it largely affects luxurious items.
Exactly.
And all of that.
Yes. Yeah. So virtually, even the man selling goods in what do you call it?
Village market.
Village market, now, because he puts money in her account, or something, small businesses. So which means the person will now say, okay, I'm going to pay this percentage, then he will increase the price. Differently. So when he increases the price, and you are saying you are not taxing the poor, you are lying to Nigerians.
Okay. Yes. Looking at all of this, it's a matter of policy, and of course, the current administration felt that there's a need. Just like you commended the harmonization, the need to harmonize this tax system and all of that. And then the opposition, on the other hand, is criticizing every bit of these policies without providing alternatives. What do you think should have been done, before this rollout, since we're talking about trust deficit?
Yeah, well, what should have been done is to embark on a lot of campaign, public enlightenment, so that people will understand exactly what you are talking about, and then don't let it look as if you are trying to make them
yes.
Yeah. You are trying to make them, it's like a punitive thing that, it's a must. You have to pay, Nobody wants to hear that I must pay. Why don't you for once come out and say, okay, government is coming out with some kind of palliatives that, you are increasing the palliatives to the poor, or you are going to give them some kind of benefits, so that to cushion the effects of all these harsh economic policies that you have found necessary to introduce.
There should have been aftershocks.
Exactly.
So some relief.
Yeah. So, but that is not where to be found. So this is why I believe, in particular, that this administration definitely will have to take a second look at, especially these tax policies. Like somebody mentioned, we have not yet, finished how to cope with the effect of the withdrawal of subsidy on Naira and on petrol. And then here, this one again, which is also, which affects everybody across the line.
Okay, we're already in 2026.
Yes.
And of course, the polity is getting charged. The various camps are consolidating. We've seen the ruling party intensifying on its efforts, to ensure that it clears, if you like, all the states. So far, I think the number of states that are in opposition are very minimal in terms of number. And to the ruling party, this would help it, boost its chances ahead of 2027. Again, the opposition is also coming together. We've seen, the formal defection of Peter Obi, 2023 presidential candidate of Labour Party, along with other key political bigwigs. Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, is also saying quite a number will also join in due course. What do you make up of these alignments and realignments? Are they actually in the interests of people, or still for power grab?
It's far, far away from the interest of the people, because it's about self-interest. And of course, all you need to do is take a look at those who today are championing or claiming to be championing the cause of Nigerians, that they are trying to see how they can take back this country.
Rescue or salvage.
Yes, or salvage. Salvage it from who? Salvage it because you for one reason or the other, you are out of favor with the ruling party, and you now go and form another camp. The same face that put Nigeria in where we are today in this mess are the same faces that are now grouping and labeling themselves a different name and say, oh, we are now the one that will save you. Who is fooling who, for God's sake? So this is where the problem is, because how do you divorce the problems we're having in this country from all the people you have mentioned? Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, El Rufai, Amechi, whoever is all the people you are talking about. Who are the architects of this mismanagement and the mess and then this horrible situation that the poor people of this country are facing today? Who are they? But
some would say perhaps they must have repented. They must have seen what they've done wrong and coming back to correct it and all of that.
Oh, when you are out of favor, when you are not in government? If they were in that government, you think they would be saying what they are saying today? So the savior is not ADC or whatever they label themselves. The savior, believe you me, it's not because I'm in ADP, but it's the parties like ADP that will save this country. Because we are the ones that...
You're also politicians. You're also part of the system.
No, but we are not those who are the architect of the problems we are in this country. Nigeria does not start and stop with the few. How many are these politicians? How many are they? When you compare us to how many millions, of 250 millions or so of Nigerians. And you have people that are in the industries that have not come into politics, people that are in the academia, you have, professionals. So, and then there are also other young politicians coming up that should be given chance. Not these ones that, if they have any shame at all, they cannot even come in front of television to say that, oh, we are the one to save you. I mean, when they go back home, how do they feel? So when they play the script of what they have said themselves.
So what do you think Nigerians? Because it seems that Nigerians are at a crossroad. Just now we're talking about the gaps in terms of the current administration's handling of the economy and the country as at large. Yes. And again, we are also kicking against the coming together of these opposition figures to. Whatever it is, wrestle power.
Nigeria needs a political revolution, which can come from only these so-called, upcoming parties that you are talking about. There's no country.
But is it about political parties? Some will say the problem of Nigeria is beyond political parties. It's systemic.
That's what I'm saying. But you need a platform. You need a platform, but not a corrupt platform, which in the past has put us where we are. Nobody is making up this. This is the empirical, evidence is data to show that these ones, if they have shame at all, if our systems are working at all, these ones are prison materials that are coming out to say they should be given chance.
So which way forward now? Because
they all have EFCC cases and what have you, and then the same people are now coming to say they are using EFCC against us. And when you stole people's money, what do you want to go home and then be enjoying the money and come and tell us to our face that I've taken your money and I'm going to rule you again.
But are you okay with the way the ruling party is also I mean, allegedly shrinking the space now, wanting to move the country into a one-party-like state.
Because they are all the same. That's the point I'm making. They're shrinking the space because it's not for you. The governors leaving those parties and joining Bola Ahmed Tinubu where he is, they are the same. They are the same. They are not representing you in any form at all. And it is true. If they were representing you, all these trillions of naira they are talking about, that the budgeting and what have you, what have they done with them?
So what do you think?
The issue is that there has to be a break, from what is happening, and that break cannot come unless Nigerians tell themselves the bitter truth that we have to just do away with these people that have not, given us anything to believe in them as our saviors. Because I'm talking about practical things. I'm talking about things that have happened, which if we have time...
Yes, I wish it's going to be a continuous conversation, actually. I wish we have more time, but we'll have to bring you back, to double down on some of these issues as they continue to develop. We're just going into 2026, and of course, whatever happens politically will now shape the road to 2027.
Exactly. This is the year of decision.
Right, so we appreciate your coming. We hope to have you, soon to continue on this trajectory. Thank you very much. That has been Engineer Yabagi Sani, the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, the ADP. Together, we'll be looking at the current political trajectory and how it's going to shape the 2027. But we hope to have him soon to continue on this with this conversation. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of Daily Politics. Do join us tomorrow. We'll be back with another topic and personalities. Until then, I'm Shafi'u Suleiman. Many thanks for being a part of it.